Well, 150 years ago, more than 15,000 people gathered together during summer weekends for revival camp meetings on Martha's Vineyard. This June, history is set to repeat itself. And here to tell us more, please welcome to the 700 Club, the authors of Couples Who Pray, Squire Rushnell and Louise Duarte. This is like old
I know, Miss
Yes,
Terry.
it is.
Great to have you here. Hey, tell me about what happened on the Vineyard 150 years ago.
Great revival back in, it was the 1850s and 60s, actually. Yeah. People would come from all over. It was the largest camp meeting in the world, some people said.
Really?
15 to 20,000 people would come there on a weekend and hear the gospel being preached. Well, over the years, you know, it's become really spiritually dead, the island. Matter of fact, it is one of the most liberal places in the country right now.
It's the bluest corner of the bluest state.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, Scott Brown won Massachusetts and surprised everybody. But Martha's Vineyard, he lost by 2/3.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So this little church of 60 people began praying that we could reignite that fire that was once on that island, where they built this iron tabernacle that seats about 1,500 people, surrounded by these gingerbread cottages, all different colors. But it's just a photo op nowadays.
But the root is still there.
The root is still there.
Yes.
And as our little congregation, 60 of their carpenters and fishermen, started to pray and humble themselves and really seek God's divine alignment and all of this, God did indeed start to align us. He got us together with Dr. Charles Stanley, who is an amazing,
and a wonderful Bible teacher. He really breaks open the Word. So how you shared with Dr. Stanley? You were at his church? Or?
We actually, because he had watched Living the Life, the show we did together.
A wise man.
Yes, a very wise man. And they had booked Squire and I for a Christmas party at the In Touch Ministries, because we did our inspiration and comedy there. And we just happened to tell him about our little island and how, you know, 150 years ago there was a great revival. Well, we get a call. And he said, I want to preach at that tabernacle. He said, I feel God is going to revive that place again.
Wow.
And so what we did is, Dr. Stanley is the keynote speaker. We have the most amazing people.
Last year we did it for 3 days.
Yeah.
And it was a great turnout.
So
this year it's
Dr.
5
Stanley's
days.
First, that was
Yes.
called, and you opened the
Yes.
People came from all over the country. They came.
Right.
They swarmed the island. The island didn't know what hit them with all these Christians coming off the ferry. They didn't know what to think. People were saved. It was like the old camp meetings. People would come to know the Lord, and then we'd have a little tent to the side, and we'd give them information. These are our little fishermen and our carpenters there. So Dr. Stanley, we said, Dr. Stanley, will you come back next year? And he said, well, I've been praying about it. And he said, I don't believe I should preach for 3 days. I believe I should preach for 5 days, and I'm going to stay there until the Lord tells me to leave, because I believe there's going to be a revival there.
Yeah.
Well,
So we have Ricky Skaggs,
Yeah.
we have Mandisa from American Idol, we have David Barton,
the great historian.
We have Mara Getz, we have Avalon. I mean, it's 5 days.
Wow.
And you know something? People think that that's because it's a playground for presidents and celebrities that it's untouchable, but it is affordable at this time of year.
Yeah.
And there are great bargains. And if people go to cbn.org, you get linked to InTouch or intouch.org, Martha's Vineyard, and you can find out all about it.
So give me the dates.
June 4th through 8th.
Yeah.
And yes, and it is very affordable, and it is a beautiful time of year. And if people can't come, what I would ask is if they would just pray. They would pray. God is going to do miracles.
We need to bring back prayer in America. We need to reclaim America.
There's a lot of talk right
place?
now about revival and about people who are passionate to see God just move.
And in the Northeast, Terry, do you know that all the revivals really started in the Northeast?
But today, 53% of the unchurched population of America is in the Northeast. That is where people came from Europe to find religious freedom. That's where all of the revival started. But today it is spiritually dormant. We got to get behind this.
You're both going to be keynote speakers there as well.
Yes, we are.
What are you going to talk about?
We are talking about prayer matters. We are going to, in music, inspiration, and comedy, Who's going to do the comedy? We know who. We are going to talk about how prayer matters to every one of us.
See, the problem with the church sometimes, and this is a Barna report that we just read, that a lot of times the church doesn't think prayer is as important.
Yeah.
It's really the most important. It's the undergirder of everything that matters. It's what moves mountains.
That's what Jesus did, nothing without praying first.
Yeah.
And when we look at these 60 people on this island who prayed, to see thousands now coming to Martha's Vineyard to experience the amazing, amazing power of God's hand on us
this
now.
Little church, Faith MV, started ripping out the pages of the telephone book, handing them out to people, asking them to pray over the pages.
Awesome.
And then at the big church in Atlanta, they ripped apart the telephone book and handed them out, and people are praying over Martha's Vineyard names.
Well, not everybody's going to be able to be there, but let me give you the information. It's Martha's Vineyard Inspiration Weekend, June 4th through the 8th. If you'd like more information, as Squire said, all you have to do is go to cbn.com. If you can't be there, let's all commit to pray for this time as God does something wonderful on Martha's Vineyard. God bless you guys for what you're doing.